I think there were steps along the way, just things that happened years ago. Veterans in my family, working with veterans in the 80s in Chicago, trying to support them, playing Lieutenant Dan in the 90s and getting involved with our wounded then. And then what happened on September 11th kind of turned me toward service to those who were deploying in reaction to that terrible tragedy. And that, I think there was a chapter in my book I've told people many times, it's called Turning Point. And that was a big turning point for me. I think everything in the 80s and the 90s and the family association with all the veterans and everything, that was all just teeing me up for something that would happen after September 11, 2001. And then I just started raising my hand, going out there and supporting where I could, and supporting many, many military and first responder charities. And then I just started my own. And that was launched in 2011. And we've been at it we're in our 13th year now. I have a big staff. We're operating all over the world and doing things all over the country. We're about to give away our 89th specially adapted smart technology home to one of our wounded in the San Diego area. Lots of things going on. I was playing at Fort Campbell last night for the troops there, and we go to Las Vegas for our annual Salute to the Troops event in partnership with American Airlines tomorrow on Veterans Day. So lots going on at the Gary Sinise Foundation.
You know, I heard one of your people say in an interview, it was playing somewhere else, that we'd be nowhere without Gary. This is nothing without Gary. Of course, you would never say that. She did. But this idea that you bring the audiences there, you bring the support there, but it's a lot of hard work. Now, obviously, you're doing it for a good purpose, and a lot of these families appreciate that. But it's almost like a limitless demand, right? I mean, just to keep up with the demand of some of our bravest who suffered so much.
I think there will always be a demand and a necessity to support the men and women who serve our country. We should all do our part to make sure they know they're appreciated for what they do for us. Some have given quite a bit. Families have lost loved ones. Of course, we have what happened in Afghanistan. We have many Afghanistan veterans struggling with that. So we're trying to provide mental wellness services to address those needs. Obviously, we have a big housing problem with homeless veterans out there. We have veterans transitioning out of the military into the civilian sector. And those transitions can quite often be very difficult and challenging. So we want to be a bridge, kind of a bridge for that, a bridge to these families. And we also want to make sure that they know how appreciated they are. I have Vietnam veterans in my family, so a lot of this goes back to the Vietnam veterans who did not get the services and support that they deserved when they came home. And I remember that as a youngster. And after September 11, 2001, we started deploying. I just wanted to try to reach out and touch as many as I could to make sure that they knew somebody like me was paying attention and knew what they were doing. And here we are on Veterans Day, remembering our veterans, honoring our veterans. And I think for me, every day is a day to make sure they know they're appreciated.
Well, you do that in spades. But, Gary, I mean, the backdrop for this is this war going on, in Israel. And there's a lot of concern about attacks on American troops, and largely in Syria. I think there have been a little more than 50 of them. So there's always the potential that there are future veterans, soldiers who will be involved in that. What is their mood when you talk to them? You cover all age groups, I get that. But what is their mood now? I mean, you talked about the feeling after the Vietnam War, but how do you sense it now?
Well, when you go to the military bases and you're dealing with people that are current active duty, they're doing their jobs. Yeah. That's what they're doing. They are part of the military. They're doing their jobs. They get their orders from their commanders, and they go out and serve the mission. So I find that they're no less committed to doing that now than ever. I mean, that if you sign up for the military, you want to be there. And we have an all volunteer military. They sign up voluntarily to do it. We don't have a draft. So I found that people are still committed. I know there's a recruitment problem. That's something that they continue to address in all the services. Our job at the Gary Sinise Foundation is to provide support to our first responders, their families, our military, our active duty, our veterans, and to just try to do everything we can to uplift them and make sure that they know that there's a grateful nation out there. I wrote a book years ago called, not too many years ago, but in 2019 it came out, called Grateful American, A Journey from Self to Service. It kind of tracks how the acting work kind of manifested itself into giving back. And I think, I mean, there's multiple charities and multiple causes that one can pick, but having veterans in my own family and remembering all too well what it was like for our Vietnam veterans when they came home from war. When we started deploying to Afghanistan and Iraq, I just felt that was a place that I could employ my efforts and try to make a difference. And that's what we do at the Gary Sinise Foundation. Tomorrow we give away our 89th home that I've been involved with since I started, raising money to build homes for our wounded.
I think of all these values and everything you espouse right now, and yet those on the left like you in Hollywood, those on the right like you in Hollywood, you don't let politics enter into it. You're one of the few people in that community who sort of transcends that. Is that by design, or do you just think that you have more important things to worry about than who likes you?
Well, I mean, we all want to be liked.
It's too late for me, Gary. I read my email, but go ahead.
You've given up on that.
I've given up. It is what it is.
No, I just try to do what I think is right, and let the chips fall. I think it's right to make sure that the men and women who serve our country and our communities know that we appreciate them.
Yeah.
Somebody who's running into a fire to try and save somebody, or trying to pull somebody out of a burning car, or trying to defend our nation here overseas, they deserve to know that the country is paying attention and that we appreciate the difficulties and challenges that our military families can go through. We have an event where we take over 1,000 children who've lost a parent in military service to Disney World for a 4 or 5 day event in December, and we're taking 350 families of fallen first responders there this December as well. We just want these families to know that their sacrifices don't go unnoticed, they're not forgotten, and that we want to do everything we can to help them through it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.